You.
Peace, peace. What up, King? We got Rasul 7, Lost Children of Babylon, Philadelphia hip hop pioneer.
Lost main Jedi mind tricks.
Yes, sir.
Wu-Tang, Killer Beasts. You know what I mean? My main man, Killer Priest. You know, all the homies out there, man. All the homies out there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So
like
yeah, man.
Like that hat. That's a vintage hat right there.
Oh man, I got the shirt too. I'm dipped out, man. You know, I'm OG, man. You know how long I've been down.
Hey, say something to you.
Yeah.
For helping me out, man. Many a time that you did, you know, I wanted to let you know that, man. You know, you really helped me out, and you know, hey, thanks, and whatever you need for versions or whatever. And
yeah, man, absolutely.
start making, I'm gonna start making beats just to let everybody know out there. I'm gonna start making beats. You know, I've always made beats, but I just never really like beat machine and all that. But now you got Ableton, you got all these different drum machines. I might as well dive into it because I always want to still be part of the culture, right? Because you get old stuff, you got to get into the technicalities of the culture. And you may not always be able to perform and things like that. So you know, me, I just want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And the creation part, the beat making part, is what I'm gonna start diving into. And I'm still gonna rap. You know what I mean? Just have my own little beat. I got the VR stuff, so now I need the beats.
Hell yeah. So yeah, man. Man, like I want to say thank you to you as well, Rasul, man. He's blessed me on several Planet X Records projects we did. Sul originally blessed me on my first solo album, Global Warming, Reign of Terror. You can go check out that track, The War of Gods and Men. Sul blessed us again.
On that track. What's that? The Hellraiser's on that track.
Nah, he's not on that joint, but he's on something else. Right. But that was me, you, and somebody else. But Sul is on the Empire of Fear record. He's on the track Black Earth, and he also blessed me on the last track we did was the Lost Realms from my solo album Tablet of Destiny. So I mean, the PXR LCOB connection has been strong. So definitely shout out to Sul for holding us down. You know, this guy is, man, like, so. Man, I have so many questions for you, man, because this has been a long time coming, but I want to go right to the origin, man. The original LCOB lineup, you know, going back to the Amber Probe EP, back like with the Breath of Judah, it was a different lineup. I'm wondering, did you come into the group after that, or were you in the inception of the original group?
I'm the creator of the whole Lost Children of Babylon.
Okay.
You know, I gave those guys those names. Like I called them, and the reason why we called them that is because we had a distinct kind of a voice. If you go back and listen to the first Jedi Mind Tricks record,
Psychosocial.
Yeah, the for Judah was on Daoud. He was on like 4 or 5 songs. He's Water Torture Joint. He was on, because at that time we wasn't really that developed as a group. You know what I'm saying? Right. We were just writing raps. You know, we didn't even know about 16 or 20. We didn't know anything about bars or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We go in with Vinny Paz. Vinny had prior knowledge to recording and stuff. He had a lot more information than we did as far as like knowing how to lay down verses and stuff like that. Right. But he believed in this, and he liked what we were doing. That, you know, he didn't care. He said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go in and we're gonna do it how we're gonna do it." But Paz, I learned a lot from watching Paz and him recruiting us at that time. You know, and because we had we was down with the Sons of Man and Wu-Tang. Yep. And came down to you know, coming from New York. You know, I mean, dealing with New York City, right? We were going up to New York City, getting with the we was just linking with Wu-Tang a lot, and we was really into Killer Army and Sons of Man. really we should have been like, yo, we need to get with the Klan, but we were just really big Klan. Of course we were fans of the Klan, but we were so into Wu-Tang. We loved we were like, oh, what are they gonna put out next? Who's the next new person? You know what I'm saying? First heard the Sons of Man, and it really blew our mind. We said, oh, these guys are gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So we made it a concentrated effort to get down with the Sons of Man, and all of them, and we made that happen. You know what I'm saying? And from there, I had met the Wu-Tang before, right? Before we met Jedi Mind Tricks in them, right? So I remember it was the summer of 96 or 95, I recall. I had came back down from New York, and I had met, actually it was an individual, I was about to graduate high school, it was an individual in my school, my high school, that knew about Vinny Paz. He said, yo, everybody thought I had comic lyrics in school, so, you know, Paz, get it in. So the guy telling me, you got to meet this guy. I guess he was saying, I think he's better than you and all this stuff, and he's a white guy. So I was like, oh, you know, I didn't care that he was white because I was a skateboarder. I was an ex-skateboarder. I hung out with all kinds of people. So, yeah, I said, yeah, introduce me to him. So he gave me his number, and me and Paz just hit it off right there. I was just telling him about my experience from Wu-Tang Clan, and he was like, wow, whoa, wow, wow. So we started hanging out and everything, and then from there, because, you know, we would be in the studio. We was in the whole recording of Heavy Mental, like the Killer Breeze. I was there to watch Heavy Mental being created, and I was there to watch some of the Liquid Swords be created.
Awesome.
A lot of people don't know that the Jizza Justice, that's my big bro. It's like it's more like a family kind of a thing.
Weren't you in one of the old the I Who Have Nothing video? Were you in that video?
Yeah,
I thought so. Yeah. Dope. Yeah.
Paz with the 40 with the turban.
You look like 17, man. How old were you in that video, man? You look mad young.
Probably like maybe 16.
Damn, that was way back.
17, probably 17.
Yeah, that's epic, man. Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna ask you about the Wu-Tang connection, but you kind of covered it right there. Let me.
With them guys, and they had told us to go back down to Philly, and because they asked guys, they said go back down to Philly and create and sharpen your sword. Exactly what we did. We went back to Philly, and we sharpened our sword. And I'm kind of glad we didn't sign under Wu-Tang and all that, because we probably wouldn't have never came out with a record. It was better that we did our stuff independently, you know. And I learned, like I said, I learned a lot from Paz.
Shout out to Paz. From
Jedi Mind Tricks and Vinny and Jan, Pablo, and all those guys. I learned a lot from them. So.
Yep. So I'm gonna go way back on you, man. When I first discovered you guys were one of like the first groups that had like a really dope website, and you had a whole bunch of content on the site with, you know, different kinds of shirts with reptilians on them and stuff. And one thing you guys had was some concept artwork for a Kung Fu movie, I believe, that you guys were producing at the time. I'm just wondering if you could shine any light on that, because I always wanted to ask you about that. Like,
we had an idea. I'm an avid reader, you know. I mean, when I was real young, reading problem. I had a learning disability, so I was very infatuated with reading in my teenage years, because when I was younger, I couldn't read that well. And I had read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I was infatuated. And I loved it, you know. And then they had came out with the film, which blew my mind away. I was like, I can't believe they're making about this. So I was so infatuated from watching that, and so infatuated with, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I wanted to kind of go about doing my own.
But both of us were.
Hold on.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I was infatuated with doing that, and we actually wrote a script for it. We did a storyboard for it, but necessarily the right kind of budget to really to put it together.
Right.
I still grip though.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Man, we got to get that done, man. I've been emailing you guys that for years.
I did I got a Star Wars fan film that we want to make as well. So film is expensive, you know, getting the props and getting this. I had to get the cameras, a bunch of stuff I had to get. I did.
Yeah.
Know how to do it. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So we're gonna work on that. It's just I'm working on some financial things right now, and a lot of that stuff is going to get done. I don't know about the Search of the Master. That's the name of it. It's called In Search of the Master.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I got the script. I still got the script. If I was at the crib, I could show it to you, but I don't have
Dude,
it.
I'm a link with you. I'm a link with you real soon. What was I gonna say? But tell them about the Star Wars concept music video that you did for your solo album, because that's kind of a little hint at the fan film stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you did that recently.
Star Wars. I did a song on my solo album called Interstellar Space Travel. And I did like a concept song to that. The song doesn't necessarily talk about anything in Star Wars. The song is really talked about traveling, you know, to a distant universe or whatever. But I added a Star Wars element to it. And one of the reasons why I did that was because I couldn't get the Star Wars fan film done. So I decided I'm going to do this concept that I came up with. And that way, if we don't get that done, right? We'll be able to do this. So I kind of broke from the two pieces. So when you watch the video, it's kind of like an intro to the fan film. Did you get kind of like nostalgia from?
Oh yeah.
When you watched it. Did you something going to be a part to this or something?
I thought it was fresh, man. I loved it.
Yeah. YouTube took all of our content down just to let everybody know.
Yeah.
YouTube in a while. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Get those back up there.
Definitely.
But I think those videos back online. We're not going to have it where as though you can comment or it's not going to get views. Because I feel as though it's going to take us harder to get those views again.
Right.
So we're not. You'll be all it is when it's on YouTube. You just go there and you just go there and you watch it.
Right.
Enjoy it, and that way it don't have to have 10,000 views and a million fucking comments. You know, who cares at the end of the day? Just watch the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because you guys had some fire content. I love the martial law video. Obviously, you guys had everybody together. That was an amazing shoot. The other one is the esoteric agenda that had some crazy editing on it. I love that video as well. So I mean, you guys had some amazing content.
Did we do a video for that?
It's kind of like news. It's like edited. I don't know if it's like you guys rapping necessarily, but it's like edited. You know, it was like edited footage, like you know, different kind of like, you know, documentary style.
I think that was Truth Seeker. That Truth Seeker did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Truth Seeker as well. I think you did a couple of fresh interviews with him, right, over on his channel?
Yeah, I did an interview with him.
Yep.
He's on the bed. He got his podcast, you know.
Yeah, he's got some good content. He got Hellraiser on there. He's got some good interviews over there too.
Interview Hellraiser?
Yeah. I actually just watched it. I think it was like a year ago, but he did a really good interview with Hellraiser. It's fire. I'll link you to it.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. I'm glad you interviewed him.
Yeah, definitely. Give me 1 sec, because my questions are on my phone. I just want to make sure I can look at them without losing you. Give me one moment. I wanted to ask you guys about, well, you brought up beats earlier. I just wanted to say that I know back in the day, Stretch the Mad Scientist was doing some of the early production. I just wanted to know, like, are you guys still in contact? Because I thought he did a really good job in the early projects.
Yeah, we're still in contact with Stretch the Mad Scientist. You know what I'm saying? He still lives in Philly. Everybody still lives in Philly. I'm the only one that don't live there.
Yeah. His samples were fire. Like I remember one.
We would probably let him do a whole album because we had paid him. We had paid him for that. You guys remember the 9/11 report?
Yeah, that was my favorite album at the time.
That Stretch did that record.
Yeah,
so,
beats on that are fire.
Yeah, he did that record. Don't I? I was listening to it the other day. It sounded like some Killer Army.
That was I couldn't wait for that. I remember when you guys posted the album cover. I couldn't wait for that to drop. So I'm like, oh my god! Plus, you guys went so hardcore. It was so much different than Equidivium and 1 and 2. That was like the hardcore style. I was blown away when that record dropped.
That what we try to do is like each album takes you into a different chamber. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we accomplished that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Subject matter. Because you listen to the Zeitgeist, the 9/11 report,
mm-hmm.
and then you listen to what's the next one?
Zeitgeist.
The appendices.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Lost Scrolls. Yeah.
That we had remastered and whatnot.
Yep.
And then after that, after you get the appendices, right, you can listen to the Zeitgeist album.
Yeah, Spirit of the Age.
Yeah, that album is really like it's a timeless album. It's like everything that I'm talking about right now is actually happening.
Oh yeah.
Happening. You know what I mean? So
I agree. And you guys had the documentary with it. The DVD. Yeah.
My homie Joseph is a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker from New York City.
Yep.
I don't know if any of you, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the Zeitgeist. So we teamed up with Mr. Peter, he's a friend of mine, and Peter let us put the movie with the disc, and we put it out, and well, there you have it.
Yeah, no. It was fire, man. What I was gonna say about Stretch's samples, so I would listen to the LCOB albums, and then I would watch like a lot of similar stuff to what you guys were influenced by, like sci-fi and fantasy. And I remember I was watching Conan one time, and the background score was playing, and I was like, where have I heard that sample before? And then I remembered, like, oh my god, that's one of the LCOB beats. I'm like, he sampled Conan. That's incredible. I was like, this is amazing. You know what I mean? I was so pumped. You know what I mean?
That's how you find it. We
fire.
Different stuff. You know what I mean? That's dope.
Yeah. No, I go deep. Man. And the other thing too, I was gonna say about you guys' content. I do similar research, obviously, to the research you and Hellraiser and you guys do. And when I would listen to the early LCOB albums, I hadn't gotten as deep into Sitchin and some of the Anunnaki tablet research, but I would listen to you guys' stuff. I'm like, the beats and the rhymes are fire. But then once I actually did the research to catch the references that you and Cosmic were dropping in your bars, and I put it together, like, oh my god, these guys are dropping the same knowledge that Sitchin and these other people use as these resources, like, in your bars. That alone blew me away, man, because I was like, I had never really done, you have other political artists, like we said, like, Public Enemy and all these guys, but I never heard anyone go deep into the spiritual content the way you and Cosmic specifically went into it in your writing. Like, that was Hellraiser just joined, by the way. Shout out to Hellraiser.
Bro, what up, Hellraiser? Well, I would say that we were very much inspired by, I can keep it one, we were inspired by the Sons of Man.
For sure.
Sons of Man. Now, there's a lot of people out there that does, like, refers to as spiritual rap, right?
Yeah.
Something that was different about Sons of Man's is their sound, and especially Killer Priest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, all those guys, but Killer Priest to me sounds like a biblical narrator.
Yeah, orator.
Yeah. Weird. I heard something like that on a record. Like,
right.
Actually, rhyme, right? Like that song, 5 Archangels.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite one by them.
They didn't even have a hook in that song. In the middle of the hook, after I think Hellraiser goes, Priest starts like just talking, and as we travel through, what I mean? Like he sounded like a preacher. Like, and I remember listening to that shit, And I was like, yo, this shit sounds fucking crazy.
Yeah.
In the house. So it sounds crazy. So as we travel through the mist of survival, the renown sits in the look, and they perish right before. I mean, like who was doing that? Like nobody. and so it made me. I was raised as I was raised a Sunni Orthodox Muslim.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that too.
He was he's an Israelite, but you know, I went to church sometimes with my stepmother and whatnot, and had a Killer Priest sound like a preacher per se, but just had that tone in his voice, like a James Earl Jones.
Yeah. The
Darth Vader voice. How you doing?
like that Conan character.
Like what's the
Thulsa Doom.
I don't know if you know. He did Unicron's voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I heard the Killer Priest, it was definitely the lyrics, but it was just really his voice.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued by that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
we don't rap. One thing about Lost Children of Babylon, we don't sound nothing like Sons of Man. We sound nothing like them. So that's always a good thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You see influence, but sound the same.
Yeah.
But I'm just letting you know, we're totally influenced by the Sons of Man, Wu-Tang Clan, you know, Killer Army, Jedi Mind Tricks, and Jedi Mind, we're all from the same town.
Yep.
Me? So
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring up Black Devils and your solo album. I definitely want to cover that because your solo album is incredible. I think it's criminally underrated. Anybody who doesn't know about Rasul's solo album, make sure you go pick that up. The Face of the Golden Falcon. It's like, man, incredible. But we'll cover that a little bit later. What I wanted to ask you about was Nuwapu and the right rhyming style that you guys originated with Right Knowledge. It's amazing to me how many LCOB fans, they know about you and you guys' music, but they don't necessarily know about like what Nuwapianism is and the right knowledge and the right rhyming. So could you just like summarize Nuwapu and break down right knowledge of what you guys did with the right rhyming?
Yeah.
As best you can.
The science of Nuwapu is what they refer to as the sciences in sciences. Nuwapu represents evidence, experience, and reason, and sound right reasoning, having a mind. It's not a science of belief. It's not a science of like religious or religionist tries to deal with the actual facts of nature and how it applies to us as a species and whatnot. Well, is a culmination of different things in our lyrics. But I will say that Nuwapo is the primary overall, you know what I mean, of what we're promoting at that time. As far as, right knowledge. Right knowledge, right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, which produces the science of Wu Nuwap, which is the sciences of sound right reasoning, which is the science of nature. Nature. And, you know what I'm saying? So we took that information to try to push along and right the wrongs of certain things that you're seeing in society on this day and time now. You know what I'm saying? It's the spirit of the ancient Ethiopians or the ancient Africans. You know what I'm saying? One of the sciences. You know what I mean?
Like is it similar to Kemetic science in a way? Because I know that's a big thing now, people getting into the Kemetic.
Yeah, because when you're dealing with the sciences of nature, you're dealing with the sciences of what they refer to as animism. And animism of all things natural, all things in the natural world. The word animism comes from anima, which also coincides with the word animation. If you look outside today, you see an animated world. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, animal, animate, animal, Annie.
Animist. Yeah.
Animist. Animist refers to sciences of nature and whatnot. You feel me? And being that the Africans and some of the indigenous people of the planet Earth, we were, trying to, well, necessarily, it's not really a black thing, you know what I'm saying? Because we got white guys in our group.
Yeah, exactly.
But more of a universal science.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. Yeah.
Trying to convey. But, yeah, I mean that's what that is. The science of Nuwapu is the science of nature. Absolute. You know what I'm saying? And once you understand absolute nature, you have to understand that you're dealing with reasoning. You have to reason everything out and be rational. You know what I mean? All things truth or not truth. You might have thought it was truth, but then you actually do the scientific research and do the study, you find out what was true and always true. A fact is a fact, but truth is true. But true, something that's true could only be true at that time that it was real. Something a lot of times people will go back and find uncover more facts about that truth, and they have to correct it. You see? So yeah. It's also a part of the natural change of things. Animism also deals with change. Nature deals with change. Nothing stays the same. If things is not changing, that means things are not growing. You know what I'm saying? Better.
Absolutely.
I mean, it can't stay the same forever.
Growth,
you know what I mean? Death, decay, is all a part of the natural cycle of nature.
Right. Yeah. Can you shine some light on, I'm not mistaken, one of your mentors is the great Dr. Malachi Z. York. Can you just talk about his influence on the LCOB style? And if I'm not mistaken, he wanted you guys to call album 2 The Lost Children of Egypt.
I say in the beginning, we were influenced, we were helping him out, Jedi, everybody I think was influenced by, Dr. York.
Yep.
Benny as Nas, the name of, just the name of a few.
Yeah.
He talks of, Jazzo,
Yep, I know Jazzo. I mean, I don't know him, but I know of him.
I'm just keeping it all the way 100. I'm not particularly, I'm not connected with them anymore. I don't really, we put out our new album, it's not say anything Nuwapian on it.
Sure.
So just because of the nature of Dr. York's case.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and the man pled guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and pled guilty in the state and in the federal venue. What people have to understand is when you try to put a guilty plea in a federal venue, and the feds come back and deny the plea and make you go to court, and then they a jury convicts you. That means you have to do all the time. The problem is with Dr. York's case is that they didn't agree upon the pre-sentencing agreement, the PS.
Planet X Records, we are here live with Rasul, leader of the Lost Children of Babylon, spiritual hip hop pioneers.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man. The power, my phone died.
It happens, but we got you back. Did you want to just finish making your point? You were talking about the case, or would you like to go on to something else?
Yeah. Dr. York, he pled guilty in the state, and also he pled guilty in the federal venue. And the reason why the judge rejected his plea is because what he did was he tried to put the plea in for 15 years. The judge, Ashley Royal, he didn't agree to 15 years. You know what I'm saying? If he would have did 25 years, the judge probably would have agreed to it. So what happened was they denied his plea, and when the federal government denies your plea of guilt, you have to go to court. And if you lose the case and you're convicted by a group of jurors, you're gonna have to do all that time. So I don't see how a man would plead in the state and then try to put the same plea with the feds It's something fishy there. So I can't support that no more. But God bless him, though. You know what I'm saying? He said he's from another planet. He should be able to walk through the goddamn cell. He should be able to dematerialize his body and just walk through the motherfucker like, you know what I mean? You know, these are the questions me and you would ask him.
Yeah, because that's what
if you're from the another planet, from the planet Rizk, and you got all these powers, how come you can't walk out of the cell?
Yeah, or travel back to the homeworld.
Exactly. Do some Thanos shit. Snap your finger like Thanos and disintegrate everybody in the cell. In the whole
Infinity
system,
Gauntlet.
you know what I mean? But obviously he can't do that.
Right,
So,
right.
You know, that sounds like a fantasy.
So it's all good though. We can move on for that. I just know that like at one point he was putting out a lot of good knowledge. I like to
yeah. I mean, he inspired us all, man. Me, Nas, Jay-Z, Vinny Paz, everybody. You know what I'm saying? We got nothing but love for Dr. York, but we just had to go and move on to other things in our lives, man. You know what I'm saying? We can't just keep talking about free Dr. York, and then ain't nothing happening.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? It's 2019. The shit about they about to send probes. They about to send people to Mars. Niggas is still talking about free Dr. York. I ain't got no time for that.
That's facts.
They about to have holograms and robots and shit. You still talking about free Dr. York? I don't got time for that.
I hear you.
You know.
I hear you.
And let's say this here. Let's say here's another thing. If York got out tomorrow, it wouldn't change nothing.
True.
It'd be good for York. He can go get something to eat. He can go take a decent shower. He can go see his children and shit. Yeah. But that doesn't do nothing for me and you.
Right.
What the fuck that do for me and you? They ain't gonna help us. See, they trying to tell motherfuckers like, yeah, when he get out, the world is gonna change. There ain't shit changing if York get out, man. It's just be good for York.
Be the same.
It ain't gonna be good for me and you. Nah, it don't work that way.
Facts. But yeah, we can move on.
I like that hat. I like that hat, man. I like that hat.
I got the hoodie upstairs, man. I got the whole freaking gear, man.
I gotta get me one. I gotta get me one, man.
Yeah, man. I should have bought more and keep on deck. Let's move because I'm gonna go straight to your solo album because I don't even know.
The Black Devils. You wanted to talk about that? Yeah,
well, you know, so we're going to Black Devils because you covered the Killer Priest connection. What I want to say is. Arguably, I think I'm gonna go ahead and say he's the best MC lyrically. I don't care what anyone says. I know you linked up with Cannabis.
You talking about Killer Priest?
Cannabis, you know, lyrically, you know what I'm saying? So you linked up with Cannabis. He blessed you with
You gotta meet him though. You gotta meet him.
I met him. I met him.
You met Cannabis.
Yeah,
okay.
I met him.
That's right. Yeah,
that's my guy. I got him on the album. We got you on the second Guerrilla Alliance album, Empire of Fear.
Okay.
You're on there, Cannabis on there. But he blessed you, if I'm not mistaken, with 3 verses on your solo album, The Face of the Golden Falcon. I just wondered, could you break down the Cannabis connection? Did you get in contact with him? I've heard him talk about Lost Children of Babylon in interviews. He bigs you guys up. I just want you to break it down for everybody. How did you link with this? You know?
I linked with Cannabis. Well, I always knew him. We knew each other. But I linked with who hooked me up with Cannabis was Killer. I knew him already. I just needed his contact, and Killer Priest gave me his contact. Actually, Killer Priest told me to call M80, and M80 gave me his number, and then from there we linked up because he lived in Atlanta at the time, outside of Atlanta, and I was staying in Atlanta, so we made the connection, and boom, boom, bang, bang, boom. You know what I mean?
Facts. And those tracks that you have him on your solo album are absolutely bonkers.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The tracks on your solo album that you have Cannabis on, the verses he gave you are absolutely insane.
Thanks.
Everybody go check that. It's Heresy, and
it's Heresy,
the Siege, and Black Devils, right? Yeah.
And Black Devils, I believe, yes.
I think one more, right? I think it's maybe the Siege or one of the other ones, but I'm not sure if he's on there. But
no, it's Black Devils, the Siege, and Heresy.
Yeah, 3. That's what I'm saying. 3 jams. Fire, absolute fire. So break your solo down. The Face of the Golden Falcon. Is it Rise of the Shem Suhar? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can you break down what the title means and the concept of the album?
The Shemsu, when you say Shemsu hard is the proper way to say Heru.
Yep.
Now, I studied the ancient Sesh Metu Neter. So when you say when you pronounce here, it really is here, a hard, a hor, right? But the pronunciation actually comes from the sound of a falcon, or a falcon when he makes his sound when he soars across the sky. It's like, you know what I'm talking about? The falcon actually makes a noise when he flies across the sky.
Yep.
You see? And that's where the ancient ones, the ancient Africans, were able to identify horu, hard, from the sound that the bird was making. A lot of people just don't know that. The ancient Cometians, for lack of a better word, used different forms of natures to identify with the human faculties of the spirit. Horu, hard, represented the resurrected king, right? Because Horu would soar into the sunset. And the ancient ones identified with that because they would see in the morning, they would wake up and they would see falcons flying into when the sun was rising. So they identified that with Horu. You know what I'm saying? Go and listen to what Horu, with the falcon, the sounds that the falcon make. And it's very, very interesting to see how they came about with different words and how they identified it with nature. When you say nature, like the brother corrected me, thank you. Nature is how you would say it in the ancient language, right? Netiru is kind of like the English rendition of the word nature. It says me do nature or me do metu netter. It's two different ways on how you say it. You understand what I'm saying? So when you say Shimsu, you're talking about the followers of Horus. I don't want to use the word cult, right? Because you go back to a bunch of documentaries, they'll say the cult of Horus. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it's not. It was never a cult. That was for lack of a better word. But it was different groups in different cities in ancient Egypt who identified with a different nature or nature, right? And that particular group of people were called the Shimsu Har or Shimsu Heru, who were the followers of Horus. They just identified with the energy of Heru. You understand? Exactly, like the brother right here, Royal. The brother right here. Me do nature. If you look on how he spells it, MDWNER. That's how you don't spell it NETERU. No, that's not how you spell it. That's an English rendition. When you go into the ancient, because the ancient words didn't have no vowels. You know what I'm saying? Anything like that. So when you go and study it, you'll find out these different things. You know it. You got to do some research. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
The face of the golden falcon is talking about the resurrected king.
The pharaoh.
You know what I mean? The falcon is the child's face, or like when you see King Tut, right?
Yeah.
That golden mask. That's the face of Heru.
Yep.
And his name was he was the living image of the word King Tut. His whole name in the ancient means the living face of the sun god. That's powerful. That always stuck with me.
Awesome.
The living image of the sun.
Mind blowing.
Beautiful. And gold has that reflection of the sunset and just the sun in general, representing the sun. The ancients identified that with that. You know what I'm saying? So the face of the golden falcon is talking about the risen faculties of the spirit of Heru inside yourself. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I correct if I say that Neteru is a Egyptian word
I'm
for
sorry,
energy?
speak up a little bit.
Yeah, I got you. I heard an old lecture that I believe it's saying Neteru is a Egyptian translation of Anunnaki. Is that correct?
No. The word Neteru could mean, when we translate it from the ancient into the English, could mean guardians. There's a lot of different meanings, like in the Arabic, Loha Arabiya,
Right.
Words could mean a lot of things. Like, for instance, in Arabic, we have the word regulan. Regulan is man, correct?
Yep.
But how would you say that regulan, right? And man in the English, from the Anglo and Saxon, phonetically has no real meaning.
Right.
So when you look at Anunnaki, right, and then you look at Netiru, which Netiru is really a bad translation from nature. You see, it's not Netiru, it's nature, right?
Right.
Anunnaki would mean those who were sent down from Anu, from the word. You go into that word is not cuneiform. It don't come from the cuneiform comes from the Latin word cunis, means wedged, like as if someone was chipping at a stone, right?
Yep.
And wedging it out to make a language, correct?
Correct.
Royal, right. But the God is listening. He gave me a thumbs up. You know, I'm going to thanks for giving a thumbs up, because I want to make sure if I'm right. Make sure I'm right. Obviously, I'm correct. So yeah. So when you go into the word Anunnaki, right, from Anutu, is from the Mgir language. It was never called cuneiform.
Got it.
Cuneiform is something that came from the Europeans.
Yeah, the Western.
So they speak speak in their language, and that Anglo and Saxon tongue. They said this looks like cunis, cuneiform, wedged, right?
Absolutely.
Has nothing to do with the translation from the ancient. You see?
Got it.
Totally different. So you want to make the distinction between nature and Anunnaki, or nature and Anutu. Two different civilizations. The question should come up, did they have a correlation or relation to each other? Well, yeah, they did.
That's what I'm asking.
We were the ones fighting against the so-called people of Sumeria, Sumer, right? And Akkad, and Babylon, and Mesopotamia, right? All of them lands, we were kind of rivals. But what people have to understand is that we had already conquered their land thousands of years ago, and they had set up their kingdoms.
Right.
The god Anu comes really from the god On, as they say, but really An, right?
Right.
So when dealing with those particular gods, the so-called quote-unquote Egyptian was able to rival other people's gods, because we were able to tell them, your God comes from our God, and our gods are older than your gods. This is one of the ways that the Persians was able to defeat the Greeks.
Right.
Because the Greek knew he didn't know where his God came from. See?
Facts.
This ain't no black history. We talking about the Persian first. The blacks we're old. We like the oldest piece of dirt on the, I hate to say it this way, but it's true. When you're dealing with the Greeks and the Persians, we had already been through like a whole generation of kingdoms in Africa, right?
Right.
So I want to make the distinction. So the meaning that it's the same scenario though, because if we defeated the Persians and we told them where their gods came from, right? And then eventually they was able to conquer us. Then what did they go do? They tried to go conquer the Greeks, and they did. But there was reason how they were able to do it. They had a bigger army. I wouldn't say they had better shields, because that movie 300 is some of that shit is real.
Oh yeah, that's the Battle of Thermopylae. That's a real battle.
The Spartans did have better shields than the Persians. Just to let you know. That's
sure.
You can read that. You can read that. You can find that out and read it in history. But if you go back, but it was always a conflict between the gods. You see, so that's how they were able to. Other tribes and other kingdoms was able to defeat other tribes and kingdoms because of their understanding. That's like if I came to defeat you and I said, well, your God comes from my God. And you go like this, And you go back to your priests or the elders and you say, this guy Rasul said our gods come from their gods, and then the priest explains, you know what I'm saying? And then you're like, oh, okay, damn, he's right. So that's how that is. You know what I'm saying?
Facts,
so the
facts.
Anunnakis, two different words meaning two different things.
Right.
Right? Separate the two, but know that they were rivals. Know that they were rival kingdoms.
Absolutely. Let me just say, if anybody has any questions for Rasul, you guys can put them in the box there, and I'll ask him. Just give me 2 seconds. Want to make sure everybody goes and gets Rasul's album or play it on Spotify, YouTube, The Face of the Golden Falcon, The Rise of.
What are they saying? That people like the album on? I never really go on. That's not. I don't really own it. We've been trying to get that Spotify page from Spotify, man. We haven't because got 100,000 followers on there. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get on there.
But
yeah.
What are they saying on there? The fans and what people are saying. Is it negative or positive?
I don't really think you can necessarily see the ratings on there. It's just kind of people kind of follow it, like it's like a Pandora streaming. But I'm sure you guys are doing good on there, man. You guys usually do good with the streaming.
Right.
But tell them to go get your solo album, man, because it was like, man, I wish more people would have listened to it, man. You got the Black Devil's joint with Cannabis and Killer Priest. Ridiculous. You guys had a video for that, or you had that on the TV?
Yeah, we did a little John for that, man. YouTube ruined us. Maybe you can help us out though, man. You want to run our YouTube page?
I said, man, if you guys have the raw video files, like if any of you guys have those,
I'll send it. I'll give you a job, man, because you really down, and for that I'll throw you a verse just for helping out and just doing the page. Just if you do it, just run it like a Lost Children page. That's all you gotta do.
You know me, man. I'm professional with it, man. I don't need to say anything about even.
We got an Instagram page if you want to rock. If you want to rock with that.
Yeah, I told you, shoot me over the login and I'll post all the promos. All right. You know what I mean?
Give me by the end of the day. I'll have all that information to you.
Yeah, DM it over to me. I'll help you, like whatever you need. I'll help you with the gram. And like I said, if you guys have the videos, I'll put them on my channel.
Yeah, I got them. I'll shoot them to you. I got all of them.
So definitely shoot those to me. Definitely make sure you get Rasul's solo album. One thing I want to ask you about, man, because I know some of the fans get confused about this, and I've heard you do a really good job of breaking it down. And what I would say is a while back on the Conspiracy Worldwide radio show, they had the MC Apathy on there, and apparently Apathy is a Freemason now and stuff like that. He was talking about how he joined the lodge and there's no conspiracy, and I've heard people use the argument against you, like, how could Rasul tell us about the revolution when he's, an ascended, member of the Masonic thing? So could you break that down of, you having this knowledge of these mystery schools and, how you could still be revolutionary with it? Because I know some people say, like, oh, how could we...
First and foremost, you got to have the knowledge before you even become a revolutionary.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Masonic Lodge, right? What they trying to come at my main man Apathy because he's a Freemason?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically they questioned him on it, and Apathy basically said, because he joined, he never seen anything personally that made him. Well,
you're never going to see. First and foremost, you're never going to see anything like that in a Masonic Lodge. Here's the thing.
Exactly, especially at the local lodges. You know what I mean?
Masonic Lodge, and I'm not putting any no crazy rumors out there. Masonic Lodge is what it is. It's a fraternal order.
Right.
It's a fraternity. And inside of the Masonic Lodge, I'll give you one thing that they abide by. You first and foremost, if you don't believe in God, you can't become a Freemason. That's one thing. That's one thing that you have to believe in God. Right? It doesn't matter what God you believe in, but you have to believe in God. The second thing with Freemason is it's all about brotherly love and helping your fellow patriot.
Right.
Meaning that it's kind of like a pass. Like if you was a Freemason, we was a part of the same lodge, and you get into a jam, as your Masonic brother, I'm supposed to lend out a helping hand to pull you out of the struggle because we took the sacred oath of a brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying? You ever heard
Absolutely.
the term Masons make good men, well, men great?
Yeah.
That's a very true statement, because what it does is it cleans up your character, it cleans up your attitude, and it makes you a better person that when you're walking around the world or on the streets, or, you know, even better. The reason why everybody has a question is this: they ask the question, why is it a sacred order? Well, the reason why it's a sacred order, we don't want a whole bunch of knuckleheads in the order.
Right. It makes sense.
If it's about making men great, then we can't have, everybody can't be a Freemason. We only seek the intelligent, right?
Yeah.
And those who have the potential to push forth our Masonic principles. It has a lot to do with character, what kind of person you are. The spirit from a spiritual sense, you follow?
Right.
So it's about building you up to your fullest potential. You understand what I'm saying? And then
Absolutely.
from there, understanding what the true meaning of what Masonry is. So it has nothing to do with worshiping the devil. It has nothing to do with that. Do they have Masonic lodges that deal with that? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The Masonic Lodge has been corrupted because of all of the nasty things that you see on social media and on all these social platforms. What people have to do is go out and do their own comparative studies and stop being subjective and using their objective mind, your reasonability, and rationalizing, and say, you know what? Let me go and speak to some Freemasons and read up on where Freemasons actually comes from.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Can you speak? You don't have to, answer any question that you don't want to, but can you speak on your own personal status? Are you a member? Have you been asked to be a member?
Yeah, I am a member of the Masonic Lodge. I'm a part of the Sovereign Grand Inspector Generals of the Scottish Rite 33 and a third Freemason Lodge, Grand Supreme Lodge of Louisiana.
Okay.
And I didn't ask to join. They came and recruited me. They
sure.
have to recruit you. Or what they refer to as a sponsorship. They'll sponsor you. You can't just walk into the lodge and think you're going to get in.
Right.
A Freemason has to like you. He has to see something about you, like, that guy over there, something about that guy. I want to talk to him. And the thing about it is, what people don't know is a lot of judges are Freemasons. A lot of doctors are Freemasons.
Yeah.
A lot of police officers are Freemasons. A lot of artists are Freemasons. A lot of anybody who you think is most likely a Freemason. And the reason why we got the sacred signs and symbols, so we can identify with each other if we see people in other countries or on the street. We identify as holding the oath of brotherhood. You follow?
Right.
I'm a Master Mason.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And so my next question would be a topic that you guys have dealt with on several albums, the Illuminati. And I've heard you say before, like in interviews and stuff like that, in order to be a revolutionary, like you said, you have to have the knowledge to understand the symbols that could be weaponized or used against you. And that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense to me. I know a lot of people would say, like, well, how can we trust Rasul now after what he just said, blah, blah, blah. But it makes perfect sense. If you don't have the knowledge, you can't defend yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Simple concept. You know what I mean?
You guys, go out for a minute. Yeah, keep it going.
Oh yeah, we got a question. We got a question for you, Sewell, from my man Mac the Rebel. He's been on some tracks with me and you from PXR. His question is, from the Equidivium to L Appendices, but I think he means all the albums. From Equidivium to Zeitgeist, is there anything you learned more with each LCOB album besides developing fresher rhymes and concepts throughout the process of you guys' career?
Have I learned anything?
Did you learn anything new? Did you learn more with each album you guys made as far as your style?
Well, yeah. I mean, always, you know what I'm saying? You always learn, and you always, I'm always researching, I'm always learning. Right now, I've been studying a lot about artificial intelligence, automation, and different things with the internet. Is about this, it's going to be the next 10 years. It's going to be it might take over society, but that's
Mm-hmm.
a 30-year period from now when we're old
Sure.
men and whatnot. I'm out here on Melrose Ave in Los Angeles.
I've seen you. You've been doing a lot with the VR. You're a VR enthusiast. Do you want to just break that down for the people who don't know much about VR?
Well, I'm pretty sure you guys know what VR is, virtual reality, and that's my second. Well, it's really my first. Now, hip hop is like my second, because me and you can still do it. You know what I mean? Make a little bit of bucks, but really, I'm into technology, and trying to open up a VR cinema duplex in Atlanta, Georgia. We're gonna try to open. You go see documentary films, Avengers and Star Wars. We're trying to make a virtual reality movie theater, so you can watch commercial releases in virtual reality.
For sure.
And that's my company. Come to my page and everything, and they see all the technological stuff and say, "No, why is he not promoting his music?" I actually do, but I think we need a whole page for that, and that's where you come. That's where you come in at.
Hell yeah.
We actually have a page on there. Let everybody know we do have an Instagram page, but that's why I think it's better if VX, if you do it, you run it, then I can still run my page. It's hard for me to run two pages at the same time, man.
I got Stool on that. You guys don't even need to worry about that. That's the least I can do for everything you guys have done for me. I know you're big into comic books and sci-fi. We've kind of gone in and out of it. Do you want to just throw out like some of your favorite comics or favorite sci-fis for people, or just whatever influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, man, of course, Star Wars. All of the Star Wars books. I've read all of those, all of the comics, the Old Republic, Tales from the Jedi's. Spider-Man was my biggest, I love Spider-Man when I was a kid. And then it was, of course, X-Men, the Avengers. I started to get a lot into that. Batman, I wasn't too much into Batman comics. I like the cartoon, though.
I like the Dark Knight movie.
Silver Surfer was one of my favorites. Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he's dope.
Dr. Doom was good. So, that's some of them. But really X-Men and Spider-Man was my favorite.
Hell yeah. I seen you skateboarding here and there on your page. So my other co-host of the show we do is a British cat named Gaz. He had some questions about skating and the X Games. Are you still skating and stuff like that?
Not really. I never skated the X Games. I never was a professional skateboarder. That was my cousin Stevie was a professional, and I happened to just I happened to be a part of his success. So, I was hanging around. I know everybody in the skateboard community, from my cousin Stevie Williams to Josh Kalers, all the way down to Paul Rodriguez and Nigel Houston, all the homies from Brazil, all the homies from Europe, and I was skating back in the day, but I never thought about ever becoming a professional skateboarder. But my cousin became a professional skateboarder, and I was able to rock and ride with him and tag along with him.
For sure.
Be a part of his success in his successful company. So,
do you have some favorite skaters, or?
I came to the realization that what would be the point of just walking around? I might as well just set up a board and skate along with those guys. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
That's why everybody sees me skating around. I can't do as many tricks as I used to be able to do, but I can do something. So. Yeah, I heard about that. The brother from Northside Philly said they just shot. Damn.
I didn't hear that. Wow, it must have just happened. Fuck.
Yeah, they saying R.I.P. to Nipsey Hussle, man.
Wow. I can't believe that happened. R.I.P. man. What's up, my brother?
Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
That stuff, man.
That's my neighbor right there.
Yeah. Man, stop gangbanging, man. Read the fucking comic book, man.
Jesus.
PlayStation 4, man. Play Call of Duty. Don't get into that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Go play fucking soccer, man.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Bad day and time. It's sad, man. It's sad. This is why we lost children of Babylon. It's a conspiracy theory. With this stuff. Because here's the thing. I don't want to talk to my brother from Philly because I know he's still listening. Here's the thing, man. People always try to shut down the spiritual hip hop, man. People always try to do that kind of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? And he was going to get with Dr. Sabi and do that. But see, the reality of it all is that they don't want to put a positive vibe out there. They don't want nothing positive.
They don't want us to get better.
You'll promote the negative, and then they'll make fun of me and you.
Because we're nerds, because we promote positivity, you know.
Yeah. And now that this happened because I was very, very inspired by Nipsey. I was gonna go up there and give him my CD.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we need these guys that's in the streets, right? We gotta give them our music, right?
Right.
So they can promote our music, because you can't keep promoting that stuff because something bad's gonna happen to you.
It's the constant negativity.
My brother right here. That's why I was making fun of Jay Son and all them guys for trying to hold up Love Park. Yeah, all you're doing is holding up a bunch of negative stuff. Why you want to talk about a bunch of kids who got their boards stolen and beat up and stuff like that? I'm 41 years old. I'm not talking about that, and I'm not promoting it either. You know what I mean? So it's a sad day and time that stuff like that happens. But Jay-Z and all those guys, man, I love all those guys. You got to start promoting and supporting the people who want to do stuff that's righteous or want to send a positive message out to people. They suppress that kind of stuff. I'm not saying play my music in the dance hall place. You can't play the Lost Children of Babylon in the dance hall. Right? Like we was talking at the house the other day. It needs to be different categories of hip hop. They got rock and roll, they got alternative rock, they got hardcore rock, they got metal rock.
Metal, punk, grunge.
They don't have nothing that they don't have the spiritual hip hop. They don't have the alternative hip hop. They don't have the hardcore hip hop. They just try to make one thing, and that's not fair.
Yeah, and no other genre does that, you know, like. See if we can get Sewell back. Who knows if his phone died again. I was going to ask him about the new members, Lex Starwind and John Murdoch. I was trying to get an update on Lex Starwind's solo album, which we've all been paying. You guys want. And yeah, I think it may have died, but that was two pretty good interviews. Got through most of my questions. Shout out Mac the Rebel, Gaz Visions, Wall Street 12. Go get my solo album, Tablet of Destiny, The Secrets of the Multiverse. I'm VX Heaven's Assassin for Planet X Records and Guerrilla Alliance. If you don't know who I am, I have Rasul and Cosmic Crusader on my solo album, as well as Hellraiser from Wu-Tang Sons of Man. Mac and I have a fire album called Empire of Fear LP. It features, see if I can try to remember who's on there. Cannabis, Rasulullah, Block McLeod, Richard Raw. Shout out to Richard Raw, formerly of LCOB. Hydro, VI, rest in peace. And there's probably a few more on there. I may have forgot some. Our new record is called The Dark Rift. You can get that on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Pandora. Killer Priest is featured on the single. It's called Sacrificial Ceremony. It's called Sacrificial Chamber, actually. Shout out to DJ Tone Split, Lace Us with the Cuts. Killer Priest is on there. Chino XL is on there. Ill Bill is on there. Shout out Nonfiction and La Coca Nostra. Ill Bill's on the track called Warpath of the Archons. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, which I pinned below. Tone Split is on there doing cuts as well. We have an animated music video for that. So support The Dark Rift. Shout out everybody for checking out our live today. We were supposed to do this on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to get this uploaded to our YouTube channel. And that is it. VX, Guerrilla Alliance. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Shout out to Rasul, too. Also, my homies from Italy, SPNS, a.k.a. LCOB Italy Division, are dropping a mixtape. I may try to get Sewell on there for them. They're going to have, I think, around 3 tracks with me. We're going to do a new one soon. So look out for that coming soon as well. Peace.